Back with another TDengine video, and today we're going to be talking about IDMP. TDengine's IDMP empowers your organization with a powerful end-to-end data historian that can analyze and contextualize your data and give you insights that you didn't think was possible, leveraging AI with zero code and low barrier to entry analytics. Let's talk about how you can do that. Here's a login screen on IDMP. I simply hit login and I'm in. The interface is very user-friendly as I look at the elements tree on the left. Within the elements tree, it follows that tree-like structure, and you can have multiple data sources broadcasting at the same time. Here I have different scenarios, but let's focus on Enterprise B, which is a beverage plant scenario. There are 5 sites within it, and then within those sites, there's liquid processing, packaging, filler production, and palletizing. And even deeper in the tree, there's tank storage, mixed room storage, and there could be multiple mixed rooms as well. There's multiple packaging lines within the packaging and filling lines within the filling production, as well as palletizers. And even deeper in, there are other elements. Overall, this scenario depicts an end-to-end beverage facility. Going into a singular element is very simple. You can go into an element, go to General, and you can favorite an element, right? And it pops up on your favorite elements right over here. But how do we get element filters, right? So you can simply search for an element using the element, the attribute, dashboard, panel, or event that you want to find. Look for it with all of these different ways you can parse through TDengine. The ability to find things is really important to us, and we make it as easy as possible for your organization. And we give you numerous ways to do it. Once you actually do it, hit search. And you can actually save those filters as different filter results. So maybe I wanted one for all the tanks, or maybe I wanted one for the different attributes. Well, I can do that, right? And I can also save that, just like the favorites, making it really convenient to get around the platform. Going into a singular element in general, I can see its name, its path, the template it's part of, and the categories it's part of. When I click edit, I can adjust these things, like the category, the template, the default attributes, right? And I can add additional attributes as well. I can also see what is called related documents. We at TDengine want to empower your organization with AI in every single facet of what you do. And related documents allows you to give hyper-specific content to each element, meaning I can drop in a document here, maybe on maintenance or on a report, or even just how to manage this element. And when I ask my LLM information about it, it will also return this data. It's a great way to know specific things about each individual element, as well as be able to see the whole picture in hyper-specific detail. Going into annotations, I can even annotate about it, and the LLM can also parse through this. And I can see that path once again on that tree, right? Okay, now what about the data? Well, you can see the data in the attributes section. And before moving on to that, you'll notice there's a general, attributes, panels, analysis, events, dashboards, child elements, and notification rule. This is very similar to Pi. And for those Pi users, they will be right at home and familiar here. Going into attributes, you can see there's 2 types of attributes, right? There is the static attribute, which is right over here. And you'll know because it never changes and is non-timestamped. So the tank number will never change. But we also have metrics. The non-static metrics are timestamped. So you'll see that over there. You can tag them with UOMs and even have a display unit of metric as well. I can export this list as a CSV, as well as add a new attribute where I can control things like the category, the unit of metric, the data reference, and I can even configure limits. For data reference, I can use a formula, string builder, tag, or metric. For forecast, I can use TDGPT, which I'll talk about in more detail later, but it is a really end-to-end machine learning model tool that can enhance your organization in ways you didn't think were possible. And I can even add additional properties. Awesome. Let's discard that. And then you can also show hidden attributes as well as the category of the attributes as well. Categorizing your attributes and being able to see them all in one place is really crucial for your organization, and we make it as simple and easy as possible. You can even check the historical value. So when I click here, I'll be able to see exactly what time each of these metrics have updated as for the timestamp data. So the non-static data, I can check historical value as well. Okay, continuing, let's talk about panels within IDMP. Panels are actually how you're going to use those attributes, and there's some really incredible things you could do with it. So you might notice that there's a couple templates right over here. Well, IDMP actually supports a feature called zero query intelligence. It's a really insightful way to see different ways you can create panels without having to do a thing, right? Here, I have a couple templates ready to go, right? These templates are suggestions given by my LLM without me having to touch the system. They're suggested panels, right? I can like a template for one that I want to see more of, and I can dislike a template for one I want to see less of, right? So maybe I want to dislike this one. Now, with my like templates, I'll see more like those, and I'll see less like the disliked ones. It's almost like TikTok, you know? Very similar to that like and dislike algorithm they have. Now, clicking on one of these is very simple. You simply pick one that you like. Maybe I like this one. And then it'll generate, right? So we're giving it a second, and there you go. It's generated, showing when it runs and then when it's stopped, right? Now, maybe I want insights on that. I can regenerate to get some insights, right? And these are direct insights leading you to have a more pragmatic approach when you talk about your data. So now I've seen the average running percentage by hour for the past 24 hours. I now have a more pragmatic approach because I can talk about the core insight, the key findings, analysis and hypothesis, the business impact, and recommendations. Not just delivering data, but delivering real results. It is more than just about generating the panels. We give you the end-to-end analysis. Now going back to the list, I can save this panel and go good with it. Or I can also use natural language to build out my panels, right? Natural language is another way to build out a panel. So let's talk about that. For natural language, I could say something like, let's say, anything you want, right? So please compare the flow rate and temperature. Maybe you want to see a correlation. Give me a line graph. Well, I can just go ahead and type that out. And now it's generating that panel for me through natural language. I can even enable multiple swim lane to see both of these metrics. And it is just like that, ready to go. Of course, you can create your own panels, right? You have the ability to create your own panels. I can go ahead and add a new panel. Standard. We have two types of panels, standard and canvas. Let's stick with standard, right? You do downtime planned and maybe downtime unplanned. Those are two that you want to do. Multiple different chart types, including some that you might not have seen. And with one raw data metric, you can even run forecast predictions right on this. And we have a ton of different settings. We follow Grafana very closely. And you can have as many metrics as you want. It doesn't just have to be two. It can even be three. The possibilities with IDMP are limitless and really up to your organization. Now, what else can you do with the charts? As I mentioned, you can also forecast with TDGPT, which I spoke about very briefly. TDGPT allows you to use machine learning models of your choice to forecast your data. You can get accurate analysis like this. Forecasting, allowing you to prevent things from happening before they happen. This type of insight is so valuable to your operation. And this is what you can do with end-to-end panels. Now, how can I use these panels to create a dashboard, right? I want to make a dashboard. Making a dashboard has never been easier. Let's click Add New Dashboard. All the panels you want, you can just drag them, right? Just drag them in. Multiple of these dashboards can be dragged in, and you'll be able to customize them however you like. Line level dashboard. All of these can be resized, and it's never been easier to click save. Now I have a couple that are already finished for you guys, so let's go check those out. Let's discard. Now we have two types of dashboards. This one is a templatized dashboard, meaning that it's given to a ton of different elements. So because I've templatized this dashboard, I can scroll through the different elements. I can pick a time sector range, and I can even have a refresh interval. The possibilities with this are really limitless, and your organization has never had more diversity in terms of how it can analyze. Now, going back to the other dashboard I have set up, once again, I can see the data flowing in, right? So I can have it for the last 15 minutes. I can see the downtime plan. I can see the alerts, the panel types, and the auto refresh interval are really limitless. And one more thing that I have to mention. You might have remembered we talked about that canvas feature. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth. The canvas is essentially these PNID diagrams that are loved by so many of our customers that are operators. Let's make a basic one to show you guys how this can be used. Maybe I'll drop this one right over here, and maybe I want to connect it to some kind of pump. There you go. It has never been easier to create graphics that you can throw up. Powerful visualizations are really the end-to-end process for IDMP. So there you go. Grab this line, connect it with this other one. Let's go to animation, and let's make the line a little bigger. We can also just turn on a flow-like animation, and we have tons of different effects. The experience in IDMP really allows for your creativity to shine throughout your organization. Okay, and this is ready to go. I'll show you what a finished one should look like on the screen here. Look how fidel you can get with these Canvas dashboards. Here's what a finished one looks like. Okay, let's keep going. Now we're going to talk about analyses. For those Pi experts, you might already be familiar, but analysis is a powerful way to calculate KPIs and generate events in real time. Let's take a look. Similar to the panels before, there's zero query intelligence, so that TikTok-like recommendation system. But you can also use natural language. Now we have a couple here that I'm actually going to pause, so I can show you how easy it is to pause. You can delete old data if you want to. Right. And the way to create analysis, and I think is one of the best ways to make it, is to just prompt it with natural language. So let's prompt one. Let's do, I want an event to fire off if the temperature is too low. So a low temperature warning. I want an event to fire off if the temperature is too low. Now we're giving the LLM time to generate. So now we're in the analysis creator, right? Going into it, you could see that it's automatically tagged as AI generated. There's a description with the element ID, trigger types that you'll see, sliding window, periodic time window, data input, state window, event window, session window, count window, and just for us, we want an event window that fires when the temperature is below 5. And I can manually adjust this, right? I can say maybe it's below 10 that I want to fire this. And then when it's greater than 10, right? The expressioning system has so many mathematical functions, string functions, conversion functions, time and date functions, aggregate functions, selection functions, time-specific functions, right? All of these are available to use for you guys. And it's a really, really powerful tool, more powerful than anything out right now. So now, once I've gotten the expression that I like, now I can kind of manipulate it the way I want it, right? I can add a fill history if I wanted to. I can apply calculation on the element itself or child elements, which is really helpful for KPIs, right? Because some of those higher level elements might not have attributes. So that's how you create KPIs. And then now you have a roll-up on window, and then you can output the attribute using the same expressioning system, and then even set an event attribute. I can delete it, of course, if I don't want it, and then I can also generate an event off of it. I simply hit save, and it's already running, just like that. end-to-end simple to get up and going. And then you can go here, so obviously check the fill history, get a trend chart analysis of the data, and even convert it to a template. Now going back, what happens when an event is fired off, right? Because we did set the event to fire off. Well, when the event is fired off, it'll actually generate events. Now this 99 you see are all of the events that have been generated. And it's the events that have been unacknowledged. So they've not been acknowledged, right? So those are these events. Going back to the Explorer, we can see events for an individual element. We'll see a duration, start time, and an end time. I can even save all of these events as a panel. So if I want to see these on a panel, it's a really convenient way to visualize this, right? Like maybe you have some data pulled up and you also want to see the events. Cool. So what can I do with these events? Well, I can run trend chart analytics of it, right? So here you go. I'm picking multiple events at the same time. There you go. Now, what I've done here is I've actually added an extra attribute from before. That extra attribute can be overlaid. I'll show you exactly how. So to overlay that extra attribute, you can actually go back to attributes. And maybe for this analysis, it's when the flow rate is 0. Fire it off. Let's pick, maybe the temperature has something to do with that, right? I'm going to add it to the trend. And there you go. It's already added. I can even enable multiple swim lane, right? So now that you know that, what other insights can I derive from this? Well, you can even align this by start time, right? So if you want to know exactly when both of these start, it's a very powerful way to get really, really precise into when these events fired off. And it gives you precision level control of everything. I can even disable multiple swim lane when I do this. The more insights we can provide, the better we feel about our product. And then you can save this as a panel. And then I can go into the attributes list. And then now you have information here like max, min, average, median, 5% profile, 95% profile. And this is considered the golden batch. So it's the best reference or benchmark of this data. And we've already provided you that by default. You can even uncheck events to show or not show. The possibilities are really endless. What else can these events do? Well, they can fire off notifications, right? So going back to an event, I can simply go here and say send notification. And this will send an email. Now going back to that Explorer, you can see we have a notification rule where you can customize that as well, right? So I can add a default contact, a reset interval, an escalation contact for bigger problems, and an escalation interval. Now for the escalation contact and the contact point, I'm able to customize this with webhook. So you can fire off whatever kind of alerts or triggers you want to. There you go, an event just fired off. And when they fire off, a lot of our customers ask, hey, can I text? And the answer is simply yes, right? So you can text. You're able to test end to end, meaning that if I want to pull a text out webhook, of course you can text. And this really gives you full operational control of your organization. I want to quickly mention our Excel add-in. It's very similar to Pi's data link product that you might be familiar with. I can pull current value, archive value, raw data, sample data, time data, calculated data, time frame data, and even the events straight onto my Excel canvas. The possibilities for customization are really limitless here, and your organization will be able to build whatever they want on Excel through TDengine's EAI. Thank you. Okay, now a lot of our customers use OPC UA as a standard connection, and I want to show you how to import a direct tree. Now, to pull that data from OPC UA, let's create somewhere that data can live. So I'm going to call this our new beverage scenario, right? Click save. And there you go. You'll see it right there amongst the other scenarios that we already have. Now going into it, I'll click Admin Console, and then to data in. Okay, now that we continue, I want to show you how to actually ingest data from scratch. And we're going to use a custom example of an OPC UA data source. To start, let's go to the Explorer, click New Child Element, click Confirm, and let's just create an element. I'm going to call this Beverage Sample, Beverage Factory. How about that? Let's click Save, and it's ready to go. We're going to put data into that element. Now, all I need to do is go to Data In, go to TDengine. Now, before I show you, we've got an OPC UA source already here added, but I can click Add Source, and we have so many different type of data sources. You can get it from Pi, OPC UA, OPC DA, InfluxDB, MQTT, CSV, Aviva Historian. So many sources and we continue growing every single year. Now, for me, I wanted to do it from OPC UA. And I've done the liberty of setting this up already. That's already ready to go. Now all I need to do is fill in the authentication and endpoint information and put it in the database. Once it's in, go to Connections. I'm going to discard here. TDengine, find Import from OPC, and this is what it's going to look like. Go to Test, Elements. Let's pick that Beverage Factory, click Confirm, and we can even set the path level to skip over values that aren't necessary. And click Finish. This end-to-end process should take around a minute to set up for you guys. And it is so intuitive and core to what we do to make things as easy as possible for our users and our end customers to feel comfortable using a product like TDengine IDMP. And there you go. It's seamless. The longest wait time is actually getting the data in, and that's only a couple of seconds. End to end, this should take around a minute. And that is such a valuable tool when you're building something out. So let's give it another second here. And it should add all of those subtables, all of those elements in, and mirror that OPC UA tree. And we're at about 98%, and it's getting there. Done. Just like that. Amazing. Go to Explorer, Elements, Beverage Factory. And that tree has been mirrored instantaneously. And now I can go in and immediately start building, right? There's no kind of wait time. My AI is already looking into the data, and it's going end to end, helping me get context and build. That means anyone can go from point A to point B and generate and create. Everyone is an expert on TDengine. Okay, now that we've seen some ease of use features, let's check out the AI side of things. Even more AI features incorporated within IDMP. So our AI chat is actually the best place to gain context on your element without having to do anything within the platform. It's great for getting reports and getting someone up to speed on the end-to-end process. It even gives you semantic reasoning on how to actually the system is parsing and what kind of queries it's making. So you know if that report is accurate, and it protects you against AI-driven hallucinations. That means you get accurate reports within seconds. And the ability to do that without ever touching the data is so powerful. Now going back to the admin console, I want to show you how you can set up that LLM connection. In our connections section, go to TDengine, and you'll see this one's in use, but you also see another connection that's in use. For that, you simply need to click Edit, and this will be your AI connection because it'll say Type AI. And you need an endpoint and an API key, meaning we work with any LLM on the planet, local and the big service providers. You're not locked in by one provider, and you can even deploy your own LLM, meaning you get total control over your organization. Keeping things open is the core of TDengine's philosophy, and the AI connection is no different. So, a common question among IDMP users is, how can it be deployed? I'm here to confirm that the IDMP platform can be deployed on-prem or on cloud. Now you might be asking, is the cloud version any different? And the answer is no. It's virtually exactly the same. As you can see by the UI here, this is the cloud. I log in, and it is the exact same as the on-prem offering, meaning better stability and also seamless updates for both, ensuring you'll never make the wrong choice when you actually choose to deploy. End-to-end for industrial management, there is no better solution and no more forward-thinking solution than TDengine's IDMP. Thank you.